Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today. Is this the end of Comcast as we know it? Absolutely devastating second quarter when it comes to TV and internet customers. We'll tell you what's happening there. Also, Charter Communications, the parent company of Spectrum Cable, gets one step closer to buying Cox Cable Television. We may see a massive merger happening very soon in the world of cable television. And a remastered version of the Three Stooges classic shorts are coming to streaming. We'll tell you where and more about all this and a whole lot more. There's a lot to talk about today in a second. First though, if you like what we do here, check out the show notes, and in the first pinned comment, I'll put a link to each story we talk about there so you can read them for yourself, come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you want, you can get these stories emailed to you every morning. Just check out the show notes for our free daily newsletter sign up. You can sign up and get our stories to your email every morning. With that said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, do one or both. Lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. And let's dive into it. All right, Comcast reported its first quarter earnings, and no surprise to anybody, they lost both television and internet customers, but how much was surprising? 226,000 internet customers canceled, more than added. It's always kind of interesting because they're always adding customers, they're always losing customers. And with that, they also lost 325,000 TV customers on this. As cord cutting 2.0 accelerates, well, 5G home internet providers see a massive surge. In the second quarter of 2025, over 900,000 5G home internet customers were added to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile collectively with that. Now, a few things here. They did announce that they did add a ton of customers with 378,000 wireless phone customers. I'm a little dubious of this because they get a lot of freebies right now, right? Sign up for a gig internet, get a free wireless plan for a year. How many of these are actually paying for it? How many people are going to cancel it? And more with that. We'll have to keep an eye on this. I suspect we will see some changes coming to this lineup in the future, that we'll see some of these be lines maybe not hang on. How long can you keep giving away free before people who say, I don't really use it, get rid of it? I asked Spectrum about one thing and never got an answer, and I think it's why Spectrum is doing better than Comcast. Spectrum's been growing their market share, picking up smaller cable companies and expanding into more rural places. Comcast hasn't been doing that at the same rate. I really do wonder how many growth in Spectrums, or at least the fact that they lost fewer TV and fewer internet customers, comes from them actually retaining customers versus them adding new by expanding their market. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But Comcast is definitely in a painful position. A majority of their business is still television and internet. For a long time, cord cutting was like, well, yeah, they lose the television, but they'll keep the internet. Well, increasingly, people have internet options. I see people still say, I have no other option than Comcast. Well, you may have at least Starlink from SpaceX. Amazon's launching a new home internet service from space. That could be another option soon. But increasingly, it seems like people are picking 5G home internet heavily. Even fiber options are helping expand it. We'll have to keep an eye on this, but Comcast is in a tough spot. If they cannot turn these numbers around, this is probably the beginning of the end of Comcast as we know it. I predict in the next 5 to 10 years, Comcast will either merge its television, maybe even its internet business with another one, maybe Spectrum, maybe completely spin it off like they're doing for their cable television networks. I know for now that sounds crazy, but if these numbers continue, there's going to become a time where they spin them off. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we never thought Comcast would be getting rid of its cable networks, especially not ones like MSNBC and CNBC. But they're doing just that this year, dumping off those cable networks into an independent company. And it wouldn't surprise me if they do that here, or maybe they reverse it and they spin off their studios, but in order to protect their studios and other business interests in the future. While this may still be the biggest part of their business now, the day will come, if this continues, that won't be the case. All right, next story up. Charter and Cox get shareholder approval for a merger. Now, this is a massive merger here. It's a $4 billion. Cox will receive $4 billion in cash along with stock shares in this deal to purchase. Basically, let's be honest here. Spectrum is buying Cox Communications for tax purposes, all kinds of stuff. It's being written off as a merger. I look for more and more consolidation. Now that there's legitimate internet competition from fiber, I have 2 where I live. 5G home internet, I have 2 different options, Verizon and T-Mobile where I live. I haven't looked at AT&T, but maybe I have AT&T also. Starlink, others. And back in the day, you had cable and DSL, and DSL wasn't in it, so most people got cable. I think Comcast and others were kind of able to sit back and not have to worry too much about competition. Now they got competition. We'll see what happens. Both Comcast and Spectrum have been making big changes in how they address all this by offering cheaper plans, student plans, other options to try to compete. Is it too little, too late? I have a lot of cord cutters tell me that they'll pay more for television just to get away from their cable company, or more for internet. Are you the same? Or do you just want to be done with them even if it costs you a little bit more? Let me know. If you're a fan of the Three Stooges, good news. A fully remastered version of the classic shorts that I believe run from the 1930s through the 1950s are now streaming on Amazon Prime Video. If you're an Amazon Prime Video customer, you can stream them for free with your subscription through Prime Video. These shorts are fully remastered in a way that many people probably never seen them before. Check it out. Link in the show notes if you want to learn more about it there. And we have a direct link in there to the videos if you want to watch it. Hey, we just talked a little bit about cable companies and streaming and competition. If you are a DIRECTV customer, which don't forget that now includes DIRECTV Stream, they got rid of the Stream part, everything's just called DIRECTV, you will get ESPN Unlimited when it launches. When does it launch? I suspect sometime in August. I'll have a full breakdown of the new service here soon. But this is the service that you can pay and get live feeds of ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN News, ACC Network, SEC Network, ESPN on ABC. So not ABC feed, but the sporting events on them. And more with this. DIRECTV and Uverse customers will be getting access to this for free. They will also be bundling in Disney Plus and Hulu in it with this. So if you're a DIRECTV streaming customer, you may be getting more options for your content soon. This is becoming a growing trend, trying to create these big bundles of streaming services to justify the cost of some of these services. We'll wait and see what happens. But DIRECTV bringing its new ESPN streaming service, because let's be honest, you're already kind of paying for it all in DIRECTV. There is some original content in there, but it doesn't sound like much. We'll have to wait and see when it launches to figure out how much there really is. All right, if you are a T-Mobile customer, check your email, check your phones. If you're on a classic Magenta plan, a lot of customers recently got texts and emails notifying them that they've been moved to a Go 5G Plus plan. Now, this comes from a report from the Mobile Report that a growing number of customers were upset that the Magenta Plus and Magenta Max customers were transitioned to the Go 5G Plus. Now, some people are concerned this may mean their price lock and other benefits are being lost. We'll have to wait and see. But if you're a T-Mobile customer, check your plan. They seem to be migrating people from older plans to newer plans, and it's a little confusing on how this is happening and why. But check your plan to see if you're impacted. Today in TV history, this week marks 30 years, speaking of Disney and ESPN, since Disney bought ESPN and ABC. Now, that was acquired Capital Cities, which owned ABC and ESPN, for $19 billion back in July 31st, 1995 with this deal, changing television ownership. Now, Disney had owned multiple cable networks in the past, but this was a massive jump. Not just was it their TV assets, but ABC had many other like radio stations and more that they got access to with this, dramatically changing the face of television forever, and Disney moving into from a content producer with a couple cable networks to a major broadcast player, owning ESPN, owning ABC, and a bunch of other cable networks that came with it. 30 years ago, this week that happened. Part of me is like, wow, it feels like it's been longer than that. Part of me is like, wait, didn't that just happen recently? So let me know what you think of that. All right. Hey, do you like to order some food for your movie nights? Uber Eats wants to make that a little bit easier with this. They're now making it possible, a few things here. First of all, for your restaurant to reach out to you. If you're making a special request and the restaurant does not understand it, they'll be able to message you and ask you questions on exactly how you want your food. Does not seem like you'd be able to message them. They'll have to initiate the contact to you with this. But I love this because it hopefully will help avoid confusion on orders. But also they're going to start using AI. If you take a picture of your food, AI will now crop it, zoom it, and make it look the best way possible to put more food images or images next to the food being offered on there. Do you order Uber Eats? I'll be honest, I probably do it too much. Especially my hip surgery earlier this year, I spent probably way too much on Uber Eats. But when you can't drive and you're stuck at home and you know you're on crutches, sometimes it's just what you want to do. All right, next story up. Amazon's new home internet service has another launch date. It's becoming one step closer to reality. On August 7th, their third launch of satellites will happen. Now, the company hopes to get 3,200 satellites into space, and they started doing that earlier this year in April. They have a rush here. They need to get a lot of these up soon. Now, to do this, they're going to partner with SpaceX, and they're going to be putting the next batch of 24 satellites into orbit, with partnering on a SpaceX Falcon 9 on August 7th at 10:01 a.m. Eastern. Very interesting to see how this happens, because let's be honest, Amazon's goal with this network is to compete directly with SpaceX's Starlink internet service. SpaceX, though, seems to be perfectly happy to take Amazon's money to launch the satellites for them, as Amazon struggled to find partners that can actually get their satellites into space. We'll keep an eye on this, but I'm a big fan of this. I know for most people, you probably don't care. You live in a big city with multiple internet options, or you got cable. There's still a lot of people who do not. And also, internet like this has helped expand the growth of the nomad culture, people living in RVs and other things. You just put a satellite dish on top of your RV, pretty much wherever you are, line of sight to the sky, you have internet, you can work from home. With that, a growing number of people work from home, making this all a much more possibility with it on it. I like it because I think when there's only one, not that I've heard really good things about Starlink, a lot of people like it, but when there's only one option, you run into problems of people being, you know, hey, this is all I have. I have no other option if I live in rural America, rural Alaska, or wherever you may live around the world. Having multiple services, I think, is good for the end consumer. So I hope they're successful on this. Would you subscribe to Amazon for your home internet? Let me know. They've not come out with pricing, but they've hinted and basically said they intend to be cheaper than SpaceX's Starlink, I should say. And lastly with this, if you are a YouTube TV customer, more local stations are coming your way. YouTube TV's added a bunch of CW affiliates across the country in here, including like recent additions in Augusta, Georgia, Ada, Oklahoma, Lafayette, Indiana, and more. If you want to see the complete list of new stations being added, thank you to a reader who sent me a tip that I found some more of them posted on Reddit. These tips help me find out what's happening. So if you want to see a full list, check out the show notes. But if you have a tip for us like this, because it helped us find this story, and then I was researching and found other stations that have been recently added, go to corecarsnews.com. Click on the Contact Us, and if you're on your mobile, there's a little menu icon. Click on that and click on Contact Us. That lets us know, because if you leave a comment here, it often gets lost in the mix. For one, I'm the only one watching it. If you use the Contact Us, though, it sends an email to the entire team here at Core Cars News. So even if I'm not from my computer, Jess will, or Raymond, or James will see, or Becca, and they'll be able to act on it or bring it to somebody else's attention with it. So please send those emails or tips through email through the Contact Us button over at corecarsnews.com. Just like that story that reader did to generate that story. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy Friday. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Until then, take care. Be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.